You know, the flute isn't normally the first instrument that people think of when they think of jazz. It's not a sax, it's not a trumpet, it's this slender, unassuming thing that somehow sneaks its way into a tune and just floats. And yet, when it's played the right way, there's a warmth, a bite, a kind of voice that you can't get from anything else. I've been digging into some of the most essential jazz flute albums, the ones that really show off the versatility of the instrument, from bluesy grooves to adventurous explorations. And what's fascinating is how different each player approaches the flute. Some make it sing, some make it roar. Some make it almost part of the rhythm section. So today, I want to take you through 5 albums that if you care about jazz flute even a little, you need to hear. Let's start with James Moody. Now, Moody is better known as a saxophonist, a tenor and alto player who could just wail. But this 1955 album, Flute and the Blues, really shows what he could do on the flute. What's striking about this record is how Moody treats the flute not only as a melodic instrument, but almost as a storyteller. Take the title track, Flute and the Blues. There's a kind of conversational quality in the way that Moody phrases his lines. It's as if the flute is telling you a story over a late night blues jam, and the rhythm section, really tight, swinging, gives him room to explore, but never feels like it's in the background. It's important to note that Moody wasn't the only one experimenting with jazz flute in the 50s, but his approach was unique, warm, fluid, and unmistakably personal. This record set a precedent for jazz flute as a lead instrument, not just as an occasional colour. Next up is Rahsaan Roland Kirk, a musician whose name alone is enough to make you sit up and pay attention. I Talk with Spirits from 1965 is an album that's as eccentric as it is brilliant. Kirk could play multiple instruments at once, literally, but his flute work on this record is hypnotic. My favourite track here is Trees. The tone Kirk gets on the flute is earthy, almost vocal, and there's a sense of dialogue between the instruments. You can hear him almost breathing with the music, stretching and bending notes in a way that feels organic rather than calculated. And of course, the rest of the band, including Kirk's own multi-instrumental layering, creates this rich, almost spiritual soundscape. This album is important because it pushes the boundaries of what jazz flute could do. It's not just about technique or improvisation, it's about creating an immersive atmosphere where the flute becomes a voice in a larger, almost orchestral conversation. Now, Hubert Laws. If Moody and Kirk are about character and eccentricity, Laws is about precision and elegance. The Laws of Jazz, recorded in 1964, is a showcase of technical mastery, but without ever feeling cold or clinical. The track I keep coming back to is All Soul. Laws's articulation is immaculate. Every note is clear, every phrase deliberate. But what makes it compelling is the way he integrates with the band. He's not just playing the melody, he's part of the harmonic and rhythmic conversation. And the album as a whole balances standards with original material, blending hard bop sensibilities with a classically influenced approach to the flute. Laws really elevated the flute in jazz, showing that it could be both virtuosic and deeply expressive, capable of carrying complex arrangements while still being immediately engaging. Herbie Mann's Memphis Underground from 1969 takes a completely different approach. This is jazz meeting soul, meeting rhythm and blues. Mann's flute is fluid, but it's funky. It grooves. The title track Memphis Underground is a perfect example. There's this hypnotic backbeat and Mann's flute just weaves in and out, dancing around the rhythm section, almost teasing the listener. What's special about this album is how accessible it is. Mann wasn't trying to impress with virtuosity, he was trying to connect with the groove. Yet despite the soulful leanings, there's plenty of jazz sophistication in the improvisations, in the phrasing, in the way the ensemble interacts. This record really highlights the versatility of the flute. It can swing, it can soar, it can make you move. Finally, Jeremy Steig's Flute Fever from 1964. Steig is a fascinating figure. His playing has this restless energy, almost like he's chasing ideas in real time. My favourite track, Oleo, is a perfect example of his playful, inventive style. You can hear him bending the tone, using multiphonics, and really pushing the boundaries of what the jazz flute could do in a bebop context. This record is fun, it's nimble, and it's daring. Steig's sense of rhythm and phrasing almost makes you forget that the flute is traditionally seen as soft or delicate. He makes it percussive, agile, and unmistakably modern. So there you have it. 5 albums that each highlight a different side of the jazz flute. From Moody's bluesy warmth, Kirk's spiritual eccentricity, Laws's elegance, Mann's groove-driven approach, to Steig's adventurousness. These records remind you that the flute isn't just an instrument in jazz, it's a voice. If you've never explored jazz flute beyond the occasional track, diving into these albums will give you a new perspective on what's possible. And for those of you who already love it, well, these records are endlessly inspiring. I'd love to hear some of your jazz flute album recommendations, so be sure to leave a comment down below. If you want to continue hanging out with me here on the channel, I'll pop a video in the corner for you to click on now. Other than that, I'd like to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.